If you don't take what's happening in the world right now as a sign to live, you're on track to regret your life. We're going to get into it. Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Nothing to be discouraged about, but everything to be on fire about. Everything that is happening in the world right now, we can either choose to fall into despair or we can choose to get up and live. The choice is always ours. We can be inspired by the thought that none of us are getting out of here alive. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, what are we doing with this one life? I called my dad just to, check on him last week, and he said something that was totally inspirational. He said, "I cannot believe it's Friday." He said, "It was just Monday." And he said, "Where is the time going?" And then he went on to say, you, Jolie, my dad calls me Jolie, he says, "At least you travel the world." He said, "But I really had to ask myself, what am I doing with my life?" Now, this is my dad, who is 75. And he is asking himself the question as he's noticing the weeks are flying by like hours. Before we know it, we're going to reach the end of our life. And I don't know about you, but I want to have no regrets. I want to get to the end of my life and be able to look back on my deathbed and say, I did that. I took risks. I lived carefree. I lived boldly. I pushed past limits. I didn't let anything hold me back. No. I refuse to get to the end of this life with any shoulda, coulda, wouldas. If I could have done it again. No, well, we got this one time. And you know what's crazy is when we really follow God, He is saying repeatedly, don't worry. He is saying repeatedly, simply allow our life to collide with His. And then what we'll find is we will be living carefree. What we find is we will be living in our boldest expression. What we find is He will be taking us on the most adventurous journey of a lifetime. But we are so programmed to hold it all together. We're so programmed to, I got to hold this corporate job down because who's going to pay the mortgage? We're so programmed to, I got to be married by 35 and have kids, by 36. We're so programmed to, I got to go and strive to get this title so that I can appear to be successful to my family, to my friends, to my neighbors. What are we holding it all together for? No, I'm ready to risk it all. And what inspired this convo is right where I'm at right now. I feel like I was just telling my mom tonight, I feel like I am on a cliff and running head first on the edge. I don't know what is going to happen when I get to that edge. All I know is I'm about to jump. And what that means is I'm about to go abroad again. I'm going on to Asia, I'm going on to Europe, and I have no plans other than one ticket that's going to take me from here to Japan. I don't know where I'm going after that. All I know is God is saying, this is all I need to know. All I need to know is I'm going to Asia. Again, I'm leaving the clients behind. Again, I'm leaving the resources, all what normally looks like security, I'm leaving it all behind, all because God is asking me to. And as I'm checking in with God, like, God, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to leave all the money behind and just go traveling. Where's the money going to come from? I mean, how am I going to be able to sustain my home? You're telling me I'm going to be able to sustain my home while I'm traveling, all with no income. How am I going to be able to do this? And God has said repeatedly, you know how you're going to do it. I'm going to do it. So then that's all I need to know. So now I can relax and get playful and get excited. And you know what? It's exciting because I want to see what God is going to do. Today, I finally started alerting my clients that, you know what, I'm going to step away. Today, I started speaking with, I also do hosting for different brands on TikTok. And as I'm starting those conversations, you know what's interesting? The work that I do with them is also changing. And as I see that their studios are changing, and now where it used to be only like 8 minutes from me, now they're moving their studio, 8 miles from me. So it's about like a 40-minute drive. But you know when the move is going to happen? The week I'm going to Japan. The clients that I started to tell, I'm leaving and I'm going abroad for a while. One client in particular, he is getting ready to move himself. And now I see how God is strategically moving, making sure that everyone is taken care of, making sure that I'm taken care of so I don't have these uncomfortable, heartbreaking conversations with my clients, but also making sure my clients are taken care of. They are moving on to other things. I didn't need to have the super uncomfortable conversation with my TikTok family like, hey, I'm going to step away for a couple months not knowing where their headspace is going to be. But for them to come to me and say, hey, look, we're going to move the studio. We're hoping that you can grow with us. But again, change is happening. And as I'm seeing it in real time, it's like, God, it's 100% alignment. It's like you're moving the pieces out of my way, and you're even moving the uncomfortable conversations that I would normally be having with these people out of my way by way of change in their own situations, in their own business, in their own lives. Look at God. I take everything. Everything is a sign. Everything is either aligned or misaligned. And I can see how God is completely telling me by way of what he's moving out of my life, you have heard me correctly. You are aligned with my will and the vision. You have heard me clearly when I say it's time for you to go. And where my vision is, there would be my provision. So now I can get playful. I don't, like a child looks up to their dad, not worried about who's going to pay rent, not worried about the school clothes that's going to be bought, not worried about the Christmas gifts that are going to come. They just know dad's going to make it happen. So they don't worry, well, but dad lost his job. But where is dad going to get the money? They just know dad's going to make it happen. So now I can get carefree like a child. My Father, the Most High, has said, I'm going to fund this next journey. In fact, I've been funding all of it. But now where it looks even scarier, where it looks even darker, just know I'm going to fund it. So now I don't need to worry about what's mine to do. I know that whatever is mine to do, the moment is mine to do it, God will give me that inspired work. Now, I just want to see the magic show. I just want to see it all unfold. But I'm also ready to let it all burn down. My mom said something to me about a month or so ago. I was talking to her about, wow, in a few weeks, I'm going to have to start talking to my clients about I'm leaving. And my mom said, you just need to go for 2 weeks and get back here and make this money. And then everything in me was just so convicted, because I thought that is really how I was raised. That's how most of us are raised. That's how my mother is raised. We got to leave behind the things we want to do, like exploring different cultures and living carefree, to do the things we don't want to do. Come back home and work a 9-to-5 in somebody else's dream job, someone else's company whose dream it was of the company owners. No, I refuse to be weighed down by the bills. I refuse to be weighed down by having to work a 9-to-5 to pay bills. I refuse to be tied down to a company or clients. I have wings because God said so. So I'm going to use those wings. I'm not going to fall for the distractions of I need to earn a living to be able to travel. No, God says, if I'm telling you to travel, understand I'm going to bring the resources. When we force his hands, meaning when we hear what he says to do and we step out on faith and we do those things, what we will find is he will one by one present the next steps, like a staircase becoming revealed only one step at a time in the moonlight. His hand will be stretched out, guiding us along the path. And if we've never seen God work like that, we are living our life too safely. I don't want to live it safe. I want to risk. Risk is the only thing that gives us exhilaration, that separates us from the mundane. That is the only thing that when we're able to look back on our life over the last 5 years, the things that we're most proud about are the things that we risked and we overcame. Well, that's God. I don't know about you, but I'm not being held back by anything. I only have a limited amount of time left ahead of me. And what I mean is, I'm about halfway through my life. I probably have more years behind me than I do ahead of me. So, no. I'm not going to live worried about gas prices. I'm not going to live worried about who's running my country. I'm not going to live worried about who's got nuclear weapons that could go off at any time. I'm not going to worry about any of it. I'm keeping my eyes on God, and I'm going to the places that God has promised I could see in reality, and not just in history books, not just on postcards, not just on Instagram. I'm going to go see it in reality. I'm praying that you join me. I'm praying that you find your bold expression, that you find the balls to follow God. Yeah, Moses had a lot of questions too. When God came to Moses and told him he was using him to free the Israelites, Moses did not understand that calling. He actually told God, send someone else. But God used him. God used him because he was obedient. And now look at the testimony. God is saying, where I am giving you a vision, understand that my provision will follow. We will never know it's true unless we risk it. And we can only, and when we risk it, we force his hand to make the impossible possible. So you guys are coming with me. We're about to go see how this trip unfolds. I'm going to a couple different continents. Don't have any plan. Won't be earning any money while I'm there. Don't got a ton of money saved. I do have rent, to cover for a couple months. But other than that, I'm out here risking it all because God said so. You're going to watch in real time how this unfolds. But the truth is, God says, when we follow him, we will ascend. So if I'm a betting woman, I bet on God every time. You're about to witness an ascension. Get busy living. We don't have a lot of time left. We don't know how much time we have left. It could be all over next week. It could be all over tomorrow. All we have is now. Go and do the things that God is asking you to do. Go and be brave enough to explore the corners of the world that you are drooling about every time you see an image. Go and see it in reality. Before you know it, you're going to look up and you're going to have decades of adventure, and you will know who did it. It was God, because you had the bravery to step out in his will. Thank you so much for joining this combo. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again real soon. Bye for now.